What's good? What's good? It's the one and only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So we got Gervonta Davis in the news. His charges have been dropped, and I want to go ahead and speak on that. But first, before I speak on it, let me go ahead and get into the article. Before I get into that, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Okay? Yeah, that. All right. Let me go ahead and get into the article. All right, so shout out to the ESPN.com. It says domestic violence case against WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis has been dropped. According to the Miami-Dade County Clerk's Office website, Davis' misdemeanor battery charge stemming from an alleged domestic dispute with his ex-girlfriend on Father's Day was formally discharged Tuesday morning after the woman declined to prosecute the boxer. We all know how that story goes. The guy gets into it with his ex, they get to going, then they end up being good, and she don't want to go on with the charges. The case was dropped as the victim is declining to prosecute her victim attorney, Lindsay Chase, and her sentiments were directly confirmed by the assistant state attorney handling the prosecution. The Miami-Dade State's attorney office told TMZ Sports the witness to the incident, who is the victim's mother, also failed to cooperate and failed after being I don't know what that is, for a pre-file conference on Thursday. Followed up with attempts to contact the witness' mother via phone were unsuccessful. Davis was arrested in Miami Beach, transported to Doral Police Department, and held at Turner Goylefield Night Correctional Center on July 11th. He was released later that day on a $10,000 bond. According to the police report obtained by ESPN, Davis' ex-girlfriend told the police she was involved in a verbal dispute with the boxer over personal matters and Gervonta having insecurities about the sexuality of their son. Davis had arrived at her residence at 5:04 p.m. on June 15th to pick up his children when the situation escalated. After putting both children in Davis' car, she alleged Davis punched her on the rear of her head with a closed fist and slapped her in the face. After regaining custody of her children during the incident, the woman went to a local hospital for medical treatment, and a note on the police report suggested that there had been approximately 10 undocumented physical altercations between Davis and his ex-girlfriend. Davis' original court hearing was set for July 29th, but was pushed back to Tuesday, with the case being terminated and closed by Judge Elizabeth Maria Espinosa Marin. Why is... Bro, come on, bro. Just have a regular name. Anyways, Davis was loosely connected to a rematch with Lamont Roach in August after the two battled to a controversy majority draw. However, the fight was never formally announced, and it is not known when Davis will return to the ring. Let's talk about it. So, all right, let's talk about something. First and foremost, man, I hope that Gervonta has learned his lesson from this, but I don't know, because, I mean, this is not the first time he's had an incident with this. But let me go ahead and drop some knowledge for the young listeners that's listening to this, bro, for real, okay? Domestic violence is a serious case, bro, and I'm not making any excuse. I'm just stating what's the reality of being a male in America, and especially a black male in America. I'm just going to drop some knowledge out there for you, bro. The system is against us, and I'm not. When I say that, I know people gonna say, "Oh, you taking it for tank?" No, I'm not, because I don't know the situation. But one thing I have learned growing up and being I've never had no domestic violence charge against me or anything like that. But seeing things and even being going through things, I've learned that not everybody is as innocent as it portrays to be. So what I mean by that is, like, when I growing up, you know, in a single parent household, when just my mom, you know, I don't know my dad like that or whatnot. I always felt like just it was the man's fault. It's always going to be the man's fault. You know, anything that goes on is the man's fault. But then experiencing things in life, I realized, dog, no, it's not always the man's fault. And things can be portrayed as one thing. Perception is everything. And, you know, the perception can be looked at as one way, but the reality is something different. So what I'm getting to, what I'm saying all that, why am I saying all that? To say this here, you have to learn how to move, and you have to also learn who you're dealing with. That's the importance of actually getting to know people before you have children with them. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, it's one thing, and I'm speaking this, I'm not, and when I say this, I'm speaking from experience, not you know, somebody that's holier than thou. Get to know the person that before you lay down with them, because bro, you don't know what you really are getting yourself to until situations like this, and then anything comes out where it could have been a situation. Man, you know, I'll give you an example, right? Chris Brown, right? And to this day, bro, people still criticize Chris Brown and what happened with Rihanna, right? And unfortunately, we live in a society where people forget that celebrities are humans too, and it be the same people that judge them, but doing the foul stuff or even more foul stuff in their own personal life. But the only difference is they don't have a magnifying glass under their lives like these celebrities, but they have the nerve to judge these celebrities or whatever. But anyways, that's a whole nother story for himself. Chris Brown and Rihanna, right? For years, for decades, Chris Brown has been dealing with this whole backlash of what happened with him and Rihanna. And that happened like, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, something like that, right? But not once did anybody ask Chris Brown, what happened? What's your side of the story? What happened? Everybody just saw the picture of Rihanna, and we all, everybody was upset with Chris Brown, right? And Rihanna kind of got away with that, right? She didn't have to face any backlash. But then Chris Brown kind of, when he finally had that Netflix series and he told his side of the story, and it's like, damn, you look at it like, damn, well, did she put her hands on him? Like, she was hitting him. She was kicking him, throwing his keys out, ripping stuff out his car and doing all that type of stuff. But nobody holds her accountable for that. Now, I'm not by no means am I saying any man should put his hands on a woman. No, that's a big no-no. As a matter of fact, that's when you need to remove yourself from the situation. Once you feel like somebody, once you feel like you want to get physical, or if it gets physical, you need to, as a man, you have to be in control of yourself and in control of your emotions enough to know, all right, I need to get myself out of this situation, right? That's what Tank needs to understand, bro. Because this is not the first time that this has happened. Obviously, the first time, for me, that's enough, bro. One time is enough. Once somebody starts putting hands on somebody, bro, you need to eliminate yourself from that situation. And then what needs to happen, further notice, is whenever y'all exchange, whenever you're coming to get the baby, it needs to be in a public setting. It don't need to be at her house. You don't need to be picking the kids up from your house. You don't need to be picking up the kids up from her house. It needs to be in a public setting, because, bro, at this point now, from now on, you are no longer, you're a liability to me at this point. So it's like, that's what Tank needs to understand, how to move. And for one, he needs to also understand how to control himself, bro. You are a professional fighter. So anything anytime anything get physical, it don't matter what she does. If she comes in there, she could have threw a brick at his car or threw something at him and got in his face and everything like that. Anytime things are getting like that, you need to leave the situation, regardless of whether your kids are there or not. She's the mother. Like, you need to leave, get yourself out of that situation, and you have the money to where you can get public visitation where y'all meet in the public, or it doesn't even have to be in exchange from y'all. It could be a third party person, and I know it's like nobody wants to have to go through that, but shit, I'm pretty sure you would rather go through that than have a whole charge against you and all this, and now your career is on hold and everything like that. You got to learn how to move in these situations like that. For me, it's no excuse. When you have the type of money that Tank has, it's no excuse for you to be for you not to have your ducks in order, to get your kids. It don't even have to be no exchange between y'all. But I mean, bro, it's an unfortunate event. Again, I'm not gonna place no judgment because I don't know the whole story. I know a lot of y'all want to bash Tank because y'all have a disdain for him, but I don't know the whole story, so I'm not finna judge this man. I don't know what I don't know what she did in that situation, because I hold both parties accountable. I know the world just likes to hold the man accountable, but no, I hold both parties accountable. We don't know what she did to provoke him to do that, and again, he's not right for that either. But he had to learn how to move, bro. You got too much on the line, bro. Like, bro, you could have had a whole nother fight. You just missed out on millions of dollars dealing with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that fight should have been this weekend. I would have been, pumped for that. I wasn't pumped for the first one, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that fight should have been this weekend. But we're not getting it now because you're dealing with this. That one incident just made you miss out on millions of dollars, bro. So you gotta fix that, dog. You gotta move correctly, dog. That's all I'm saying. Hopefully they get that stuff together. Tank got a lot to learn, but that's a part of growing up. You live and you learn. Hopefully he learns from this, and hopefully this is the last time we hear about something like this. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. But what do I know?